Okay, so Opus 5 is here, and this is probably the craziest release from Anthropic. Not only this is their first release on a Friday, which is really unusual, but it beats Fable on almost all the major benchmarks, which is kind of incredible. And they did it with half the price of Fable 5. So this is pretty crazy. But I think the biggest sentiment, no, for me, the biggest part is its performance on third-party benchmarks. Especially look at this score on the RKGI3, a first model that is achieving 30%, which is almost 3 times that of the previous state-of-the-art model. Pretty incredible. You can see that they really cooked with this model. It's state-of-the-art on front-end design, which has been one of the strongest suit of Opus models. It's essentially Fable level model at a cheaper price. Now, they intentionally reduced its cybersecurity capabilities, which is... Now, this model seems to be really great at agentic coding. So look at this. In one benchmark task, it was giving a drawing of a machine part and asked to write code to rebuild it as a 3D FreeCAD model. But the model was not given any way to intentionally pivot the drawing itself. So it came up with its own computer vision pipeline to pull the geometry from the raw pixels and then reconstruct it in full part. So the model has agency. Now, when you're looking at these frontier models, you should always look at third-party benchmarks. So here's Cursor benchmark. And if you look at Opus 5 on max setting, it actually is really close to Fable 5 on max setting at almost lower than half the price, right? And if you look at high, it actually surpasses Fable 5. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how good this is in real-world coding. However, it already surpasses GPT-5.6 Soul on max setting, just being on extra high setting, right? So it definitely seems like it's a very competitive model, and seems like Anthropic cooked again with Opus release. Okay, so here is Frontier Code. This is from Devon. Again, it's a third-party benchmark, and it's on par with Claude Fable 5. So we should expect some really great performance out of this model. Now, Anthropic has messed up Opus 4.7 and 4.8 release. 4.6 was actually really capable, and hopefully this goes in line with 4.6 release, not only the benchmarks, but actual real-world performance. We're going to look at that in a minute. Now, seems like the thinking budget still improves these models. If you look at this plot, you can easily see that Fable 5 increasing the thinking level also increases its performance. Now, it also is going to cost you more money. However, it's interesting to see that it surpasses Fable, GPT-5.6 Soul on all of the different thinking settings, specifically for agentic coding. So we should expect a really strong model. Okay, so the model is already out on Claude.ai, and I think it's already available in Claude Code as well, which is great. So Anthropic usually, when they announce a model, it's already available for you to test it out, and we're going to run a couple of tests here. But before that, a couple of words on the pricing. This is exactly the same as Opus 4.8. Anthropic hasn't changed the pricing of Opus models and Sonnet models in a while. They're keeping the same price level, but with every version, we are getting performance improvements and intelligence increase, which is really good. Now, as I mentioned, they have intentionally tried to reduce its cyber capabilities, and I think this is one of the reasons that they are able to actually release the model on time rather than waiting for government review, which is pretty good for us as consumers, because we have been getting some really awesome models lately. Okay, before looking at the tests, one more thing that I wanted to highlight. There were some reports that this is supposed to be a lot more token hungry, but looking at these plots on different effort levels in the performance, it doesn't seem to be costing way too much compared to Opus 4.8. For the same level of performance, and actually, or even higher level of performance, you are getting better pricing. Now, at higher efforts and better performance, it, yes, definitely increases, but this doesn't, hopefully, is going to be substantial in real world tasks. All right, so for actual tests, let's try this on this ISS tracker. I'm going to put the effort level to extra. Default is high. Let's see what exactly the model outputs. Okay, so a couple of observations so far. It definitely seems like it takes a lot longer in its reasoning process compared to Opus 4.8, at least for this specific prompt. Now, I'm running a few other prompts in parallel as well, so it could be related to the servers that are busy at the moment. We're going to see. It actually is a lot slower. I wasn't actually expecting this. Okay, so we have a result for the first prompt. In this case, I simply asked it to create an encyclopedia of the legendary Pokemons, the first 25. Now, this is something new. Usually, all of the outputs that I have seen from LLMs are essentially cards which are stacked together, if you have seen some of my previous videos, but this took a lot of creative freedom. And it's a really, really nice looking website. I'm kind of impressed. Like Opus models have been really great at web design, but without any specific instructions, you don't really see that template feel out of this, which is really, really good. So I kind of like the first output that I'm seeing from this model. Okay, so the second prompt that I ran through it was to create an animation of the crowd of people walking to form "Hello World, I'm Opus," and it has to change the camera angle. Now, this is a specifically hard one for LLMs because they need to track special positions of all of these different people that it's going to create. So let's see what exactly it is able to do. So far, I think mostly Gemini models have been able to do this because they have really good spatial understanding thanks to their multimodality. Okay, so a crowd of people are walking, and now I can see that. Okay, oh wow, all right, awesome. This is pretty neat, right? So you can easily read through it. "Hello world, I'm Opus," which is pretty impressive. I kind of like it right now. Now, the only problem right now is that I can't really change the view or control the movements of the camera angle. So I asked it to add those. We're going to look at that in a minute. All right, so it's already out in Claude code as well with 1 million context window, which is pretty nice. I am going to be testing this in more detail on production code. So probably will create a follow-up video. I just wanted to get this quick first impression video out. All right, so this is the updated version. It gave me camera control, which is pretty good. And now I can actually zoom in, zoom out, and all the good stuff. Also, I really like that it kind of made these Lego objects or Lego people they actually look pretty nice, right? So pretty impressive so far. All right, on the ISS task that we assigned it, it's been actually more than 50, and it's still working on it, which is crazy. Especially, we're not using Claude Code. We are using Claude.ai, and it's taking its sweet time. Hopefully, that's not the case when we're using it in Claude Code, because this is extremely slow. Okay, so I just noticed something. There are some really interesting chart crimes. So if you look at the agentic coding, you're going to see something interesting. 53.4 is supposedly higher than 53.5%. Well, we have seen some companies do things like that. I wasn't expecting this from Anthropic though. Yeah, the difference is not that much, but I think it's better to be actually honest about things. All right, so while it's generating that ISS tracker, a couple of quick thoughts. I think we might see that Fable and Mathis class models might be a whole different category that may even not be available to us, a normal consumer. Those could become just part of the Project Wing class, because if a Opus class model is able to surpass Fable class model just in one iteration, it's pretty incredible. So Anthropic could just keep the naming simple as it has been for the last few years, but we're going to see. Anyways, I think this is a really exciting development. I'm going to be doing a much deeper dive with my own production code on some of the apps that I'm working on to see how good this model actually is, and I will keep everybody posted. All right, well, I was saying that it actually finally completed the ISS tracker, and I really see that it kind of shows us these different status levels. Oh, wow. Actually, this is pretty amazing. Now we need to look at if the actual position is correct, right? So this is supposed to be the current position right now. Let me look at where exactly this is. And you can follow it. You can remove the tracking. You can remove the footprint. This is pretty impressive. I haven't actually seen anything like this. And if you look at here in the bottom, it also gives you the potential path, which is pretty crazy. This thing is really, really good. Okay, so this is actually the position right now. And I would say that we could potentially use something like this instead of that website that we looked at. The position is correct, right? It is a lot more detailed. It's really impressive, not because of the globe, but I think the amount of details that it's able to include. So far, I am going to say that Anthropic really cooked with this model. Anyways, we're going to do a more detailed video on this, but I hope you found this quick first impression video helpful. And I'll see you in the next one.